I discovered the family secret, but no one admitted it to me. I woke up to the smell of chlorine in my mother's house, and my grandmother's portrait was gone, leaving behind a pale rectangle like a torn confession. We'd come to sort through papers after my Uncle Raoul's heart attack, but the house was freshly painted, the boxes had new labels, and no one would let me open them. I felt they were cleaning more than just dampness. At midday, while they were arguing about inheritances, an unlabeled folder ended up in front of me. Inside was my birth certificate, with 2 stamps. Over mother, there was a smudge, and on top of that, in darker ink, my mother's name. In the margin, an old stamp, Resettlement 1996, Temporary Guardianship. The silence was heavier than the crooked dishes. My grandfather turned up the radio, which was tuned to no station. My mother moved plates aimlessly, and Raoul sweated silently. I looked for the portrait. And the storage room, I found the frame, wrapped and glued to the cardboard box, along with the receipt from a rural clinic. In the photo, my young grandmother was holding a dark-eyed baby with the same little birthmark on its temple that I hide under my bangs. I went back to the living room and put it on the table. I looked through other folders, invoices from a farm at kilometer 13, and a loan signed by my grandmother 2 months after her death. The accounts clashed. Camila spoke of humanitarian adoptions. Raoul murmured that sisters help each other out. My grandfather said that surnames protect. I went to the sewing machine room. On the table was an envelope with a photo. My mother, in a hospital, exhausted, holding a baby too big for a newborn. The nurse in the background looked impassive. On the back, a phrase, "So you don't ask." I decided to look where the family couldn't hang curtains. I called the clinic on the receipt. The head of records asked me to come in person. The building was a warehouse. Behind a door, I found boxes of notebooks, lists of checkups, milk, midwife. The entries had repeated signatures, small amounts paid in cash, and notes with the initials of women from the village. Next to them, newspaper clippings about charity birds were taped on with old tape. My grandmother's name was Lucia Ramirez, and an old crave lay a blanket embroidered with those initials and a date close to my birthday. I understood the secret without hearing it. My mother had lost a pregnancy, someone brought a baby from the farm, my grandmother signed what was necessary before she truly died, then they covered everything up with guardianship and silence papers. I photographed the notebooks and put the blanket in my bag. I returned at dusk. I placed the portrait back in its place, and in front of everyone laid Lucia Ramirez's blanket, the copy of the receipt, and my birth certificate with 2 dates on the table. I didn't ask permission. I mentioned names and the mileage of the farm. My grandfather gripped the table until his knuckles turned white. Camila fell silent. Raoul feigned a yawn. My mother kept her eyes on the kettle, but her hands trembled with the rhythm I've known since childhood. Then I did the unexpected. I packed a suitcase. I put in documents, the photo, and the blouse. I announced I'd be gone for a few days, that I'd start a process with what I'd found, and that the portrait would remain hanging. The radio finally crackled with a bulletin. I opened the door, and the house breathed air that didn't smell of chlorine. I walked to the car with the blanket clutched to my chest. No one stopped me or called me. The secret no longer weighed on the wall. It weighed in my bag with verifiable evidences. I started the engine. In the rearview mirror, the window remained. My grandmother's portrait gazed out at the street. I drove off. I didn't need them to admit anything. I knew my origins well enough to sign them in my own handwriting, and now the rest was mine.